Hello students, welcome to ACI's Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss in detail about a political protest that seems to have erupted in the Spanish capital city of Madrid against the sitting Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sánchez. So why people have suddenly began to protest against his rule, what is the allegation against him, and how entire political system of Spain work, let us try to understand this in more detail. Now to give you the brief context of this particular topic, just a few days back, it is believed that tens of thousands of protesters have gathered on the street of Madrid. Madrid, as you know, is a very famous city in Europe, capital of Spain. And the image you can see from here, you can see a sea of people who has come out from their houses and are participating in this protest against the Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, whose image you can see in the down as such. Now, basically the demand of protesters, which also was being supported by the main political opposition party of Spain, is for calling an early general election. Now, mind you, just in the year 2023, 2 years back, Spain basically has seen its general elections where no party was able to get its majority, and that is why a coalition parties have come together to form a government, and Pedro Sanchez is heading that particular government. Now, also we have to understand the protests are happening at that time when there is numerous allegations, not only against him, but largely against his party, his administration, his close aides, and also his family members such as wife and brother. He's basically being made. So basically we can say his party and family together are embroiled in a succession of corruption allegations as such. And it is in this context the demand is met for calling a general election, and he should resign from his post as such. Now, before moving further, let us also try to understand the location of Spain. Now, we know that Spain is an European country situated somewhere in the north, or we can call it southwestern part of Europe as such. If you look at from this map here, Spain is opening up to two water bodies, Atlantic Ocean in the north, and then you have Mediterranean Sea in the what you can call as south and eastern part as such. Then from the west, it is surrounded by Portugal, and in the northeastern direction, it is surrounded by, or it shares a border with the France as such. Then to the southern tip of Spain, you have a small strait that is called the Strait of Gibraltar, which allows passage between Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea. And just to the south of Spain, you have the African continent, where you can see very closely situated is a very well-known African country also from tourism point of view, that is Morocco as such. So this is how we can understand this Spain as such. Now Spain also has keep coming news earlier also, because one region of Spain, as you can see from the map here, this region, if you're able to see, this region is called as Catalonia, and Catalonia keeps demanding secession or separation from Spain on the basis of distinct socio-cultural linguistic identity as such. So Spain always has a trouble from Catalonia and Catalonian extremist group as such, or what you can call as the secessionist group as such. Now, if you try to understand about this particular in more detail, we have discussed that the protest is being led by the main opposition party of Spain, which belongs to the conservative side of the ideology or conservative spectrum of the ideology. The party is called as People's Party as such. Now, during the marches, protesters have raised the slogan of mafia or democracy. Basically, we know that Spain is an example of constitutional parliamentary democracy, and they are saying that if the current government led by PM Sánchez continue, it will be akin to giving reins of Spain to the mafia and mafia's hand as such. So we have two choices: either you choose mafia and let the present government run, or you choose democracy, call for an early election, and then change the government as such. According to the figures released, about 45,000 to 50,000 people have gathered on the streets of Madrid, and at the same time about 100,000 people were on the street. Out of that, we can see 50% of them have actually participated in the protest as such. Now this is the figure which has been quoted by the government by itself. Now, before going further, let us also try to understand the kind of system or the political system Spain has. So, as we have discussed, Spain is an example of parliamentary, what we can call as parliamentary monarchy or monarchical system, where at the head you have king. Currently, you have King Philip, who is the head of Spain, or we can also call it as the head of the state. Similarly, the government is run by elections, where the electors are selected to the parliament, then they choose a leader as such. So currently we talk about Sanchez, or Pedro Sanchez has been elected as a leader and has taken a position of prime minister. So he can be equated with head of government. So it is a similar kind of system that you see in the United Kingdom as well. Constitutional monarchy, where head of state is the King Charles as of now, and then you have the head of government led by Prime Minister, that is Starmer. So similar system exists in the case of Spain as well. Now, I told you that year 2023 is when the last general elections were held in the Spain. In this context, if you look at the distribution of seats, we can see the progressive bloc that is led by the current PM Sanchez got somewhere about 166 seats, and similarly the conservative bloc also got lesser seats. None of these blocs were able to get 176 seats that is needed for majority and to form the government. And that is when, to form the government, Pedro Sánchez had made a deal with the Catalan separatist group. As I told you before, Catalonia want to secede from the Spain. So PM Sánchez basically has given a deal of amnesty to the Catalan supporters and the people who have participated in violence from the Catalonia side. And they said that because of the amnesty, many of the pro-Catalan parties then gave support to the progressive bloc led by PM Sanchez. And it is through this method, by getting the support of undecided groups that you can see from here, such as Junts, you have PNV, you have CC, you have BNG. So all of these groups largely are pro-Catalan in nature. So by getting support of this undecided group of electors, he was able to get 176 seats, more than it, and was able to form the party as such. So this is how we can understand that in the hung assembly or hung parliament, he was able to gain favor by basically giving a deal of amnesty, and then he was able to form the government. Now we know that protest has erupted because of the allegations that has been levied against, or charges that has been levied against his government, or also we can say his wife. For example, a series of corruption allegations have been brought forward by many parties. Most of these parties are right-wing parties, and there is a pressure on his Spanish Socialist Worker Party, that is the name of the party led by PM Sanchez, and it has further intensified after a news came where it seems that one of the party members was accused to trying to wage a smear campaign against the Guardia Civil Police unit as such. Now, the region-wide smear campaign was launched. Basically, the people who have led allegations said it is largely because it is the Guardia Civil Police Unit which is leading the investigation against the wife of Prime Minister, who is Begona Gomez, and also his brother, that is David Sanchez, as well as the former transport minister in his government, that is Jose Luis Abalos as such. So basically, to put pressure on the Guardia Civil Police Unit, the smear campaign was launched by one of his party members. Not only that, recently another basically we can say another political scandal has come up in the Spain, where it seems that one of the early member of the party led by PM Sanchez, called as Leira Diaz, she has cut off ties with the party because a recording were leaked where she seemed to offer judicial leniency to the certain people in return for compromising information on senior members of the Guardia Police Unit as such. So this is again another instance, an example of corruption, we can say. However, later on when she was asked upon this question, she has distanced itself, the party and the PM has distanced themselves from her, and she has said that she was not working on the behalf of Prime Minister. Rather, this recording which was leaked was just a research that she was conducting for a book that she was writing on corruption. So that is how she is trying to defend herself. Now, as far as demonstrators are concerned, they also have gone and called Sanchez a traitor to the country. And the main reason why he's been called as traitor, you can understand, because I told you, to form the government, he had made a deal with the pro-Catalan supporters or pro-Catalan group as such. And that is why, in one way, many people this basically are saying that he is trying to cut a deal with the separatist group, and that move should be considered as anti-national or a move that is befitting to a traitor as such. Now, Spain needs a revolution of decency and freedom. That is why the protesters are saying, and also the political opposition is clearly demanding that PM should stop hiding, stop lying, and stop running. Spain knows only too well who you are and what you have done. Yield to democracy, because as we have discussed, in Spain, someone cannot just come remove the Prime Minister and become leader himself or the head of the government himself. Basically, the entire process has to be repeated again in the form of elections, and again, whosoever win the election will be able to form new government as such. So call an election, we want one now, because no one voted for this, not even your supporters. He has further. It is basically, we are talking about the main leader of opposition who has talked in this particular term, and obviously it makes sense, because if election is called now, it is believed that the main political opposition party of Spain, will be a winner, because there is a kind of anti-incumbency is in the air as far as the current PM and his administration is concerned as such. Now, if you look at the corruption scandal, first I told you, is the wife of Prime Minister herself. Accusation is coming from a party called as Manos Limpias. This group is believed to be a right-wing group, largely leading the protest against several other government officials also in the past. So Gomez is being investigated for allegedly being involved in corruption and peddling practices. Peddling means selling of something illegal in nature. Corrupt practices, it is because the group alleges that she has used her influence as a wife of Prime Minister to secure sponsors for the university programs, university degree courses that's used to run in the university as such. Also, as far as the brother of PM Sanchez is concerned, as you can see from the image here, David Sanchez, on him also similar allegations have been imposed, where he has used his influence as brother of PM to participate in peddling and other offences in a different case as such. Not only that, one of the assistant to Abalos was the former transport minister in the PM Sanchez government. So basically the assistant has been arrested on suspicion of taking payments to facilitate contract for the face mask during COVID-19 pandemic. So this face mask scandal is also being indirectly linked to the PM Sanchez government as such. Now, against entire protest and the allegation of corruption, Prime Minister has reacted by saying that it is basically similar kind of reaction you see from any politician whenever any corruption scandal comes into light as such. So he has used similar kind of words. It does not matter whether you're in Spain, whether you are in any other part of the world, you'll see that generally politicians use similar kind of words to defend themselves. And that is how we are seeing here also. PM has said that it is the opposition party who are largely behind this protest, organizing this protest. Protest is without, or the allegation is without any merit. It is basically a campaign of harassment and bullying against his government. Also, he has defended his family, especially wife and brother, and he has stated that all the allegations against his family members were entirely false, and it was just brought in to bring personal and political collapse of his identity and his government as such. PM also have described the case against his wife as baseless and ugly fit that is driven by the far right groups behind the complaint. Now that is true, because it is the right wing group, as we have discussed before, is behind the complaint as such. Now, what can be the future ahead as far as Spain is concerned? Now the PP, which is the largest opposition party, it was ousted 7 years ago, and the reason why it was ousted is also because of the corruption scandals in which its leaders and its prominent ministers were involved in. So basically it was also criticized in those times, and basically even now if you talk about, in some provinces of Spain, PP party still is having its government. So for example, Valencia you can take. Valencia is where they are ruling, one of the regions that it governs, but it was not able to properly address the issue that resulted due to deadly floods that you can see from here. It has caused heavy losses to the life and economy of Valencia. So people of Valencia have criticized heavily the opposition party, that is PP. So basically it does not matter whether elections take place in Spain now or later. It seems that people of Spain would not have so cannot get so easily rid from the elections, or rid of the corruption basically, because both political parties, whether it is the current ruling regime or it is the opposition political parties, both are not free from corruption, and both sides of the aisle, if you look in the parliament, it seems that corruption is the song of the day. So that is how we can understand the problem that the people in the region and the Spain generally is facing, and the entire we have discussed the entire cause behind the recent protest that has erupted against the administration of Prime Minister Sanchez. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with the fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such content. Thank you.